Hi guys, welcome back. So let's make a selection for England versus Italy. Now England are at a bit of a turning point here. What do they do from such a poor performance against Scotland? And it really was one of their worst, possibly even ever. Now they're lucky. They get to play Italy, who are obviously the weaker team in the Six Nations. They need to make sure they play a lot better, or they could even lose, but I don't think they would. But anyway, they need to make a decision. Do they play a lot of the players who played so poorly and hope they play themselves into some sort of form? Or do they make some changes and really say, this isn't acceptable? I don't know what Eddie's going to do. It'll be interesting. This is what I would do, and this is my team, so let's go through it. I would keep the props the same. They did okay-ish, but I don't really think there's much better options there. The scrum was a bit disappointing. There's no Marler available. There's no Mako available. So I think Genge stays, even though I think he was disappointing. Had some good points, but not as good as I thought he might be. So Genge stays at loose head. Urbano on the bench. Stewart actually at tight head did alright. I think he did pretty well. He scrummaged actually fairly well. He made some massive hits in attack and he carried well for a massive guy. I think there might be some potential there, so that's actually maybe a slight positive. At hooker, I think Cowan-Dickie's got to play. The guy is in form. He's raring to go. He's been in great form all year, playing for Exeter in the Premiership. Jamie George has not played at all, and then when he did play last week, he was miles below his best. So I just think it would be unbelievably unfair not to play Cowan-Dickie. Atoje, as I said, in the second row was one guy I thought that looked good. A lot of you guys in the comments said yes, he did look good, but he gave away a lot of penalties, and you're dead right. But I thought a lot of the time he was trying to do the right thing, or he was trying to make a difference in the game, and a lot of the forwards just seemed to be standing around waiting, or just being run around because they were flat-footed. Anyway, so Atoje definitely stays. I'd step up Laws to start as well. Hill was slightly disappointing. So I think he drops to the bench. Not disastrous, but slightly disappointing. So I'd bring in the experience of Laws. Curry was quiet, but again, I wouldn't drop him. I don't think there's better players come in if you dropped him. Wilson, who I thought was very quiet and ineffectual, completely shut out by the Scots. I think he would drop out of the 23. I didn't have him in my 23 when I originally selected anyway. And then I'd play England's best back row, as in their best three back rowers, Curry, Willis and Earl. Those are the guys who are playing best in the Premiership and in the squad. Sure, you could say Simmons should be in the squad, Don Brandt should be, but they're not. But Curry, Willis and Earl are England's best three back rowers, I think, pretty easily. Earl had his knee strapped up, which is a little worrying possibly, but we'll see. But if they are fit, I'd go for those guys. And I'd drop Billy to the bench. Let's see if he can make an impact off the bench. You know, at times there, it's a bit painful when players are just running around Billy because he's slow. If he plays a lot of games in a row, he can get himself in great shape, like in the World Cup. But he doesn't like training, which is strange for a professional athlete. He's on record saying he can't get his head round getting himself into shape if he's not playing a game. You know, and that is something that is a little bit inexcusable, really. It's just an excuse. He's just not motivated enough to get himself in shape, so he has to play games. So I reckon Eddie will play him, so he will try and get himself into shape, because otherwise he'll have a massive layoff. But I wouldn't. I'd bring him off the bench. At scrum half, Youngs was good. Actually, Youngs was not bad against Scotland. He looked sharp. And he's been playing well for Leicester. There's the clue again. People who are playing well in the Premiership often will play well in internationals. So I'd play Youngs. I think I'd bring Ford in, definitely. Farrell was a disaster versus Scotland. So slow. It was absolutely painful. I think Eddie will probably bring Ford in but move Farrell to 12, which I think is just a massive mistake. You know, if Farrell was slow at 10, he'll be even more of a liability at 12, but you know, anyway, I'm sure he'll do that because he's the captain, or maybe not, we'll see. In the centres, like I said, I think Lawrence will miss out, but I don't think he should, because everything he did, even though he didn't do a lot, was excellent. So leave him in, for goodness sake. Put him alongside Slade. I thought that was, you know, they could, if they'd had some ball, they could have actually been pretty decent. If they had a, you know, a clever 10 inside them, putting them through holes and stuff, could have been a different story. You know, get Marcus Smith into that squad, come on. Anyway, I won't go on about that. Back three wise, May is lucky to retain his place, made some mistakes, tried, but, you know, also not the weather. You know, the weather against Scotland cried out for a big power winger like Van der Merwe, and England just didn't pick one, or didn't have one that they thought was good enough, and that was a big problem. You've got to have some power options on the wing. They've got to have a think about that. Daly wasn't great in defence at fullback against Scotland, but his skills are good. He's a good passer, he's a good kicker, and his attacking actually wasn't too bad. But I'd definitely move him out of fullback, put him onto the wing. Watson is dropped, as again he was a passenger against Scotland and hasn't done anything for England for ages, which is a worry. So Mayland would come into 15, give him a chance. Then you got, like I said, George on the bench, Urbano Williams, Hill and Billy V. So, you know, see if he can actually make that impact from the bench. I'd definitely move up Randall to the bench for sure. Robson's international nerves against Scotland were, you know, pretty bad, and the irony was, I've been saying actually for the last few games, whenever Robson comes on, he just looks petrified. He's a good player, but his passing and his kicking were not great when he came on. Farrell, I'd probably actually put on the bench. There's not a lot of other options, to be honest, anyway, in that small squad. And then I'd round the squad out with a Dogwoo. If he doesn't get game time against Italy, when will he? So let's bring him on, hopefully at 13. Maybe they might bring him on the wing, but I think they need to play him at 13. Anyway, that's the way I'd go against Italy. England need a massive improvement in performance if they're going to stand any chance of doing anything decent in this tournament. They need to sort out their set piece number one. The props will need to step up in the scrum. And they need to get their attack going. Like I said, they may well do it against Italy because they're a slightly weaker team, and then they have 2 weeks off and they come back for 3 hard ones in a row. I don't know. They need a big turnaround. Will Eddie shake it up? I don't know. Let me know what you think he will do. This is my team. Let me know what your team would be for Italy, and I will catch you next time.